Kentucky hold up. Kentucky 85, Arkansas 77. The Kentucky Wildcats travel to Bud Walton Arena, travel to Fayetteville, Arkansas, in one of the most hostile environments in college basketball, and come out with the W. Before I get started with this reaction, I want to tell you to please subscribe to Random SEC here on YouTube. We are doing great on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, what have you. But we're still trying to grow this YouTube thing, so a subscribe would really be helpful. Okay, before I get into the nitty-gritty of this reaction, I just want to say all credit to Mark Pope, all credit to Kentucky, Otega Owe. You know, they come off a loss at Vanderbilt on Tuesday that was just simply embarrassing, a 25-point loss, and then they come back and go to one of the toughest places to win in the SEC, and they straight up just I mean, I don't wanna say dominate, but they were the better team throughout this game. It was a controversial game, but whether it was the calls, whether it's just the rivalry that it was, it was a chippy game. But at the end of the day, Kentucky needed a win, and they got it. They got it. And, you know, with all that's gone on for Kentucky this year, all the blowout losses, all the injuries, to sit back and just look at the season, you're still second place in the SEC. You are projected 7 or 8 seed in the NCAA tournament. Now it hasn't been great at times, and it hasn't been perfect at times or beautiful at times, but at the end of the day, this is a resilient Kentucky squad, and at the end of the day, if you can get the consistency up and play like this every single game, there's 0 reason why you are not the best team in the conference. 0 reason. Um, that being said, coming into this game, I said how Kentucky's going to win this game is that they are going to have to start off fast, and Arkansas Darius Acuff especially, is going to have to start off slow. It's been a struggle for Arkansas to start off fast, especially recently. They've been inconsistent. When they start off fast, no team has beat them. No team has beat them, but it's been a struggle for them to start off fast, and they didn't today. They didn't, and they got behind early, and I think it was like a 13 to or 10-point lead for something for Kentucky. And at that point, Arkansas starts to get tight, right? They feel like, uh-oh, this isn't we're not just gonna roll the ball out here and beat Kentucky. No, we got to start playing our game. That time they've dug themselves a hole, and they do come back, and it ends up being a great game. But that's the moment where Kentucky mentally instilled, like, we're here and we're a team, and you got to bring your A game. Arkansas did not bring their A game. Let's be quite honest. The effort from Arkansas was pitiful. This performance from Arkansas was embarrassing. Coming into this game, you are the number 15 team in the nation. You've been pretty impressive, but you still have struggled with consistency. And this was your chance to prove that we are consistent. And it felt like the perfect opportunity, right? You felt like Coach Cal would have his guys ready for a game like this. Wide out, huge crowd, ready for something. And to put up that kind of performance is simply embarrassing for Arkansas. There's no two ways about it. Simply embarrassing. But the real tale is on Kentucky. They played great. All credit to them. They played great. They needed to have a great performance from each and every one of their players, and they did. Um, they started off hot. Like I said, that was the key, and it worked. But at the end of the day, Arkansas cannot be this inconsistent, and they cannot be this bad on defense, especially. The way they've been playing on defense has been utterly abysmal. They can't rebound, and they can't defend. I think that they have the players to get it together, but on a consistent basis, this cannot be your defensive performance, or you are simply just not going to go deep in March at all. Like offensively, yeah, you can get by, but when they're on an off night offensively, and this is your defensive performance, you can't win games. So you make yourself really one dimensional when you have to win games by scoring 90 points. And when you don't, like you score 77 here and you just can't win, you just can't do it. I think another problem here for Arkansas was I don't know if I want to say game plan, but the way they came into this game with um Nick Pringle playing way too many minutes. All right, you see Malik Ewins having a baller night. Him and Billy Richmond were the MVPs for Arkansas. They're playing great, and you take Malik Ewan out. at this point in this type of game, I don't care about minutes. Nick Pringle will get his eventually, hopefully. You gotta give it to the hot hand, and that was Malik Ewan, and you just did not play him enough, especially in the clutch moments. And I feel like that moment in the second half where you took him out for Arkansas, Malik Ewan, that's the moment Kentucky just kinda hopped on you, and they got that 8-point lead. But let's talk about the officials because the officiating was definitely controversial. Doug Shows, the head officiate in the SEC, he's just not very good, let's be honest, I think everyone knows this. But this game, officiating-wise, was terrible for both teams. Like, obviously, that viral moment, 38 seconds, or Kentucky had 3 technical fouls. I'd say 2 of those were valid. One of them was absolutely ridiculous. The Mo Diabate one, he should have 100% not had that technical foul called on him. I don't know where that came from. But then also after that moment, just it felt like the officials were just swinging the Kentucky way. They had to compensate for those calls, those, technical foul calls on Kentucky, and it was just terrible Arkansas's way. So, like, both ways, it just felt like the officiating was extremely unfair, and it just took away from what was a great game. It took away from players balling out because at a certain point, you're calling so many off-ball fouls, and it's just like we're not even watching teams play defense. They're just trying to not, grab a foul, and that's kinda what it turned into, and I didn't like that because I at the end of the day, I think that takes a lot from Arkansas's game because a lot of their game is, on-ball defense and just transition and getting to the hoop, and they couldn't really do that as much with, all the, just with all the, officiating. And what I will say is coming into this game, I said Ortega always going to have a huge game. He had a huge game. He was kind of the X factor, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, the guy balled out. And like this team's like been, as Ortega always goes, this Kentucky team goes. When he's balling, this team's balling, and that's what happened today. But the guy who was really the game changer for Kentucky, in my opinion, was Malachi Moreno. Now, this guy, he's a freshman, and he may not be the best offensively, but he's one of the best defenders and rebounders in the SEC, and he was just eating up Arkansas on the defensive end and on the offensive end, to be honest. He would just back down Trevor Brazil, back down Malik Ewan, whoever it was, and he would just slam it over their heads. I mean, it was just absolutely absurd. The rebounding, the offensive rebounding was huge for Kentucky. They just dominated Arkansas in about every faction of this game. It was a pitiful performance from Arkansas. I feel like that's really the only way I can say it. Pitiful, pitiful performance from Arkansas. And if you're Coach Cal, like, I mean, that's a game you gotta win. I mean, I obviously, it's not gonna affect their tournament hopes too much, but you're undefeated at home. You haven't lost at home since February, and you come into that game and you just get absolutely dominated in every faction of the word. At the end of the day, guys, Kentucky needed this win and they got it. They needed this win and they got it. And I I don't wanna say that Arkansas is overrated or any of that. I just think that they're inconsistent, and that's going to cost them huge if they can't get that figured out in March. They're simply just not going to have it in them to make a deep run if they continue to be this inconsistent, especially on the defensive end. Darius Acuff was a guy that it felt like he was a no-show for Arkansas, but I look at his stats, he still had 22 points. So that's just kind of speaks volumes to the kind of player he is. Even on an off night, he had 22, but he had too many turnovers and he showed his freshman side a little bit. And I feel like Kentucky and Mark Pope had a great game plan coming into this game. They just absolutely ate Arkansas alive. And yeah, so I mean, the 3 technical fouls was kind of the turning point. I feel like for Arkansas kinda got the lead there, right? They get the 3 technical fouls in 38 seconds, and it feels like, "Okay, Arkansas is gonna run away with this one." Then no. Then you go down the trip to, Kentucky's side, and there's a ton of off-ball fouls called on Arkansas, and I feel like that kinda evened it out a little bit. And just Arkansas did not come ready to play, and they, like, I just how do I say this? Arkansas coming into this game, the way you started off was how you lost the game. You started off slow, and that loses you the game 100% time out of the time. You can't do what you did against Oklahoma. Oklahoma, you started off slow, but you came back. Kentucky's a better team than Oklahoma. Like, I don't care about that Tuesday loss for Kentucky. I said coming into this game, you can't overlook Kentucky. That was just an off game for them. You know, everyone has one of those games where it's just a burn the tape kind of game. That wasn't your team. That was Kentucky versus Vanderbilt on Tuesday. And then they come into this game and they're ready to play. Like, I don't know how you don't expect that if you're Coach Calipari in Arkansas. Maybe you're just tight. Maybe you're just anxious. I don't know what it was. But at the end of the day, you weren't ready to play in this game. And it showed. It showed mightily as Kentucky wins 85-77. And like Mark Pope, I mean, credit to him. He's had every reason in this season, him and this Kentucky team, to just curl up and just say, call it a day. But they've continued to rebound every second that they have, and continue to show up time and time again when their backs were against the wall. And that's kind of the year it is in the SEC. It feels like when the team's backs against the wall, that's when they come to play the most. With this loss for Arkansas, Texas A&M will remain outright number one in the SEC. No one can surpass that. Not Florida tomorrow, not Arkansas today, as they lost. So it's just an interesting year in the SEC, and I cannot stress to you enough how huge this game was for Kentucky. You know, you got embarrassed last year. Coach Cal walks into your building, and it felt like, in my opinion, this was the complete polar flip of what happened last year at Kentucky. Kentucky comes into this game, and they're where Arkansas was last year. Arkansas backs against the wall. They look terrible, terrible. Everyone's counting them out. They go to Kentucky, and Kentucky's what, a top 15 team? I think they were number 12 at the time. They walk into Rupp Arena. All the storylines had no reason to even be in that game, and they come out with the win. That's exactly what happened today. All credit to Kentucky. What a fantastic win. And Arkansas, you just got to find a way to be more consistent. An embarrassing loss at home, embarrassing. And now I will get to some of these comments. Thank you all for showing up. Um, P Pinuptibros, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is Arkansas scared? I don't know. It felt like they were tight. It felt like they were anxious. It felt like they weren't ready to play for sure. Um, and yeah, the 3 technical fouls were insane, and Texas A&M is being great. And yes, I don't know why Mark Pope was cussing. I think he's a Mormon, and I don't know they were allowed to do that, but he was certainly cussing. Just a fantastic game. Please subscribe to Random SEC for all these types of just breakdowns, reactions, all that. Fantastic game, fantastic rivalry. I think this has to be, just a top 3 rivalry in the SEC. I think it's number 1 right now. I think you watch this game, these 2 teams hate each other, absolutely hate each other. They were going at it each and every, like, chance they got. There were so many technical fouls. I think that was a huge point in this game, just the absolute rivalry. And even at the end of the game, it got chippy. And I think Ortega always said it best at the end of the game. It's personal. It's personal between these 2 teams, and I really hope we get another matchup between these 2 teams in the SEC tournament or in the NCAA tournament. It's a real shame that we only have 1 matchup in the regular season for these 2 teams. It should definitely be a home and home, but we'll deal with the cards we're dealt. It wasn't a great performance from Arkansas, but it was a great performance from Kentucky. It's exactly what Kentucky needed to turn this season on its head and maybe, just maybe, have a chance to come out hot and win this SEC regular season title. We shall see. It's been a fun day of SEC hoops, and it's still going. And we have tomorrow as well. But at the end of the day, Kentucky gets the W, 85-77. To my dismay, I did not expect this one. I said I saw where there could be an avenue for Kentucky to win, and I said how it would have to happen, and it's exactly what happened. Kentucky did exactly what I said they needed to do to win this game. It's a shame for Arkansas, but yes, a must win for Kentucky, and they get it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Random SEC. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and follow us on all socials. And I will get to these last few comments here. 1350. Who is number 2 in the SEC now? Garrett. It is Florida right now, and I think Arkansas and Kentucky are technically tied, but I think because Arkansas has 3 losses, um, I think it's Kentucky and Florida, or maybe just Florida in second. I don't know. Yeah. Arkansas was leading with them. Is Austin Dunn, only Kentucky, only Arkansas fans think this is a rivalry. I would disagree with that because a lot of Kentucky fans have been very hyped for this game. And people will say, "Well, it's just because of Cal." Well, then I'm like, "Okay, I get that, and maybe it is just because of Cal. Maybe it is just because you want to win this game." But I also say, why is Otega Owe, a guy who never even played for Cal, saying this was personal? Like, I just feel like for Kentucky, they wanna beat their coach. It almost seems like they care about it more. Obviously, Arkansas cares about it. This was a huge rivalry in the '90s. I've talked to a lot of Kentucky and Arkansas fans about that. They both agree about that, but the controversy if it's a rivalry now. Um, but I think there's trash talk being spewed by both ends, Austin. I personally believe that, but I could see, where either side. I've seen Arkansas fans saying it's not a rivalry, and I've seen Kentucky fans saying it's not a rivalry. I think that's BS. Like when you see players fighting like that, and it's just personal between these guys. Whether you like to believe it or not, I think these players treat it as a rivalry now. I don't know. Historically, Kentucky definitely leads the series and all that, but these last 2 years especially, and even in the Muss era for Arkansas and the Cal era for Kentucky, I feel like this has been had some pretty legendary matchups, but, that's just me. Coach Calamari trying to show his ex that he is now better. Well, he has done that. But yeah, this year was not the outcome you wanted. But I also feel like Kentucky, they just want to show their ex that they're better. Like I feel like it's very, very two-sided beef here, and a lot of drama and a lot of just like kind of jealousy from both sides. But at the end of the day, Kentucky holds all the bragging rights in this one. You came to Arkansas, like there's no disputing that. If you won at home, maybe Arkansas fans could say, well, if you played us at Bud, you like that's what's so surprising to me is that Arkansas they didn't come ready to play at home. Like that's been uncharacteristic for them. But at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Thank you so much for watching, guys. I think I'm gonna sign off. Enjoy this last game, and I'll be back for a reaction to this last game, Auburn, Tennessee. It's looking great right now. See ya.